What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of The Beacon, sponsored by LightHouse Young Adult Ministry, our digital conversation series that revolves around young adults who can shed a light on a specific topic or a chosen profession. We love to connect with young adults with different stories, with different perspectives that they bring to the table. Young adults are doing a lot of things in this world. People 18 to 35 years old are changing the scope of different fields, from social work to the medical field, to education, to the performing arts, to health, to all different types of things. We are changing the world, and we'd like to shed a light on those who might not necessarily get that light shine on them. So just a quick quote that I love. I grew up around educators. My mom's an educator. My aunt is an educator. My brother is going to be a coming educator. So I grew up in a house full of people who love to teach and love to sow into young people and educate and build up our next generation with knowledge. So a quote that I grew up knowing about was from Maya Angelou, and it reads, "This is the value of the teacher, who looks at the face and says, there's something behind that." I want to encourage that person. I want to enrich. I want to call out that person who is behind that face, behind that color, behind that language, behind that tradition, behind that culture. I believe you can do it. I know what it has done for me. The transformative power of an effective teacher is something almost all of us have experienced and understand on a personal level. If we are particularly fortunate, we had numerous exceptional teachers who made school an exciting and interesting place. Those teachers possess a passion for the subjects they taught and genuine care for the students with whom they work. And about the subject matter, take on more challenging work, and even pursue careers in a particular field of study. Today, I am excited to have a special guest. She is a daughter, she's a sister, she's a wife, she's a dog mom, that's a thing. She is an instructional designer, and she's a middle school math teacher. And she holds a special place in my heart because she is one of my annoying little sisters. So please welcome to the Beacon, Miss Ashley Threatt.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. First and foremost, you're the annoying one. Let's start there.
Whatever,
So
whatever.
But of course, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of this, and I'm so excited to just share some more with you about my experience, not just being an educator, but being an educator during a pandemic and what that's like. Yeah. So once again, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, most definitely. We are definitely this episode is called Stronger Education. If we had some fancy things going on, it would say Stronger Education across the screen, but we just don't say it, huh?
Exactly. Y'all caught it.
You saw it. That's it. That's what it matters. See? So we are this year. The word for LightHouse that we are basing everything we do off of is strong. So we are growing stronger in our faith, stronger in our beliefs, stronger in how we go about approaching the world, about individually and collectively as a group. And education is a key part of our upbringing and how we move about this thing called life. So we know that during this COVID season, educators, whether it be students, whether it be teachers, whether it be middle school, elementary school, high school, college, it's been a struggle for everybody. So we want to dive into that a little bit. And we hear a lot about how the students are struggling and how it's hard. People are graduating, walk across the stage, how grades are suffering from different grade levels. But we don't always talk about the teachers and the effect it has on the teachers. So we want to dive into that a little bit. We know you are an educator extraordinaire. So we want to kind of dive into the effect it's had on you. So can you please introduce yourself, your background, and who is Miss Ashley?
Absolutely. Thank you. So once again, I'm Ashley Threatt. I am an instructional designer, a teacher on the south side of Chicago, wife, daughter, sister, you know, dog mom is weird. So I have a dog. I just say it as a pet. But yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'm just happy to be here, and I just can't wait to share more with you and thinking about all that's been going on. I'm so happy that you mentioned how the teachers' perspectives during all of this time matters too. And we're hearing in the media so often how the students are being affected across the city, across the world, but very rarely do we really sit down with the teachers to, gain and learn more from our perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. So my question, first question for you is, what made you become a teacher, especially a math teacher? Because with math, me and math, our relationship is not good. It's very dysfunctional. It's very one-sided. I don't like them. He don't like me. So, so unless it got to do with money, you know what they say. You know how they say you don't like math unless it got to do with money. I'm one of those people. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, you know what? And as you mentioned to Alex, we're around such selfless individuals where, we have witnessed what it looks like to always give back and to always put others before ourselves. So that's definitely been such a motivation for me to enter this field of education. And not only that, but, I did spend some time in growing up in Chicago and attending some schools and then transitioned to the suburbs. And I was able to witness the difference in the resources we were provided, the difference in how certain students that looked like me were treated. And it was such an eye-opening experience for me. And that really, really encouraged and motivated me to want to enter the field of education. And I remember there was this quote I honestly I feel like it was from a magazine. And it essentially stated how Black children really need to see people doing things that they love.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's so real. And I have been blessed to be around people and motivators and influencers who really show what being happy looks and feels like. And I wanted that feeling. So I'm like, what can I do to really give back to those who look like me? Because knowing how, society paints this false image and false pictures of us, I wanted to change that narrative. And they fall back when they hear math. And I always love math because it was challenging, but I love the challenge. And I'm like, you know what? A lot of people don't like this. I'm gonna be the one that comes out of all of this loving it. And from there, I just really grew a passion for math. And as you mentioned, math is all around us, especially when we want to count that money. So
Count that money, girl.
yes, absolutely. So that's really what motivated me to essentially become a teacher, but specifically for math.
That's awesome. That's awesome. My sister. So your desire to impact the world and change the minds of those coming after you was a key factor in what made you chose this profession. But that's dope. That's dope. So I guess I know another teacher, I know another teacher, it's going around, Um, so my question is, like we were saying, we kind of talk about a lot how COVID has, learning has changed a lot for students. But you all have had to be more creative. You all have had to be more intentional. You all have had to be more aware of the different circumstances and the different things that are going on with your students to be able to cater to them and serve them in the best way that you can. Um, but how has COVID affected you, Ashley, as an educator, whether it be personally and or professionally?
Yeah, it really helped put a lot of things into perspective, really how quickly life can change. And I remember when we were notified that schools might close last school year in March, and we were dismissing scholars, regular school day, missing scholars, and there were rumors going around like, hey, this might happen. We might not be back in the building tomorrow. We didn't know what to expect, and it was kind of like, wow, we just had a regular school day, and no telling what tomorrow will look like. So that really changed my perspective on just life in general. Like you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So we're literally making the most out of each day that we're blessed to see. And literally one day I went from fist bumping my students as they're entering the classroom, greeting them, say, hey, good morning, good afternoon, giving high fives and everything like that, to now air fives and letting them know, hey, don't forget to use the sanitizer when you enter the classroom. Like the greetings look and feel differently too. So that's really how it's really impacted me. And thinking about now, like some of the cons, right? The checking in with the students looks different. I'm all about that social emotional aspect to this work that we do, where it's more than just academic. Students don't care anything. They don't care about the content. They don't care about the math unless they know that you care about them. So that check-in looks differently. Now I can't just walk to a student, pat them on the back to see what's wrong, what's going on, and things like that. It's done virtually now, where we have breakout rooms where I have to meet with students. And before it was a lot of, issues around meeting with students virtually one-on-one, given a lot of restrictions that we had in this virtual space. So that was a challenge for sure. Also, school is a safe haven for a lot of students.
Absolutely.
And I know that was really tough. And I know that just thinking about how excited some of the students were to return, just to be back in the building, has definitely been eye-opening. But I will say some pros. Parental involvement. The amount of parents who have either gone out their way to reach out to me has really increased, because now, oh yeah, absolutely, because now it's as if we always need the parents, but now the parents, they're really, it's like their mindset has changed too. They're like, wow, in order for my child to be successful, I know that I have to communicate with their teacher. So that has definitely increased, as well as, the technology. Technology, I love it, absolutely love it. And my classroom has always essentially been around technology because that's what the students enjoy. So I'm all about doing what the students like. So I'm always incorporating different technology pieces within my lessons and day to day. So that's definitely been a plus though. Students are really more engaged because they're using the technology that they're used to using every day.
No, it's a couple things that's good about that. The fact how you said that, one thing, parents are more involved. Because I know that so I work in a center that has a lot of after school programs. And part of that after school programming is kids come in for homework. They come in for homework though. And they come in because they can't get it at home. They can't. Their parents aren't equipped or don't want to, or whatever the reason may be of where they can't get the support they need at home. So they come here and we give homework. So we've had a lot of reports, a lot of surveys that went out to parents saying that one of the main things that they need for their students is help academically, because they just can't do it. They don't know how to do new math, or they don't know how to, they don't know certain subjects. They like, because I didn't go to college. Some don't even have a high school diploma. So they are very prohibited and limited in what they can do to help their kids. They want to see them succeed, but they just aren't equipped to help them. So that's one thing. Another thing is the safe haven part. I don't think I realized, like when I was a student back in like middle school and high school, how much of a safe space school was for students. And how they came to the physical building just to get away from things outside of the building. Even if they aren't, even kids who aren't doing well academically or aren't necessarily succeeding academically, they come for a place to meet friends. They come for sports. They come for places to be able to just be themselves and be kids. So that aspect is something I took for granted until I got to be an adult, when I saw these kids that are high school kids that are homeless, and middle school kids that are homeless, and they're struggling to find food. So they're coming to our pantry to get food. And I'm like, wow. And it was a real eye opener, especially in this COVID season, because everything that was happening before COVID was even more during COVID. So, so that definitely it hit me home. So thank you for saying that. So, 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 thank you for saying that. So So like I said earlier, that I come from a family of educators, lots of teachers, master's degrees, and all different types of stuff. Um, so I learned early on that what you were saying, how the teaching, educating profession is a lot deeper than just within the classroom. It's about caring about your students on a mental, emotional, spiritual type of way, because all that affects your academics. So how have you, um, I guess it was upskilled yourself so you're able to serve your students better in this season of COVID?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. And that makes me think about students' experience. And I like to call my students scholars. And I know that that was something that I that I adjusted. Currently in my 6th year of teaching. And I'm gonna say maybe my 2nd year in, when I was really noticing some of the behaviors of my scholars, I realized I had to adjust the language to adjust that mindset. So
Mm,
I realized that so many students just dislike school, just don't like it, based on
right.
maybe they might have had a bad experience with maybe a teacher, with their peers. They might have been bullied. They might feel as if the work is too hard, that they can't do it. They might not like their class schedule, plethora of reasons, right? Why a
Yeah.
student might not
Yeah.
like school. So I remember early in my teaching career, my goal was to aim to allow students to like school, just
Mm,
enjoy showing up to school. Because so
yeah.
many students would come to me and just like, I just don't like school. I don't like being here. So I was really able
Mm,
to sit down and talk to students about why, exploring the why behind it. So after my 3rd year of teaching, I then wanted to shift some mindsets to for scholars not only enjoy coming to school, but actually develop a passion for the process of learning. Because
yeah.
I felt at that time, having 6th through 8th graders, range of emotions, feelings, all
Absolutely.
of the above, the middle school
All
years,
the things.
all the
All the things.
anything you can think about it, I've seen it, done it, and heard about it, all types of stuff that I've been gone through in my short 6 years, right? So I was really striving to create a space so students enjoy not just learning, but the process of learning. That
Hmm.
includes failing. That includes having to try something 3, 4, 5, 10 times until
Yeah.
it works the way in which you want it to work. So in terms of me upskilling, I'm thinking about like I refer to it as like my M&Ms. 2 things that I always strive to do um, to create that passion for the process of learning. One, the work must be motivating. The work must be motivating. If scholars don't see the purpose as
Right.
to why,
They're not gonna tap in.
exactly, they just won't do it. It's literally as simple as that. If they don't understand why this work matters, they don't feel like they should do it. So my goal was create the work that's motivating, and
Yeah.
also incorporating movement. We're in a space where every students like to move around, sitting idle, sitting in a desk. That's no longer the new norm. The new
Right.
norm
Right.
is hey, can we move around? Can we listen to music while we work? And I'm all
Right.
about that. I'm all about that. Like honestly, I'm always moving. I'm always on 10. Like I'm and I know I know that I need to
That's
keep that
that's why we siblings. Go ahead.
I know I need to keep that same energy when my scholars are in front of me, because I need them to see that I'm passionate about what I do each and every day. And that I'm not only passionate about it, but I love what I do. And I want that to rub off on them. And so they
Yeah.
can then become excited about learning about the Pythagorean theorem, excited about these things that you don't even think twice about. But when I'm
Yeah.
in front of them, I'm like, okay, we about to knock this out, scholars. Here's what you're going to be doing. Here's what I'm going to be doing to help you along this process. So
Yeah.
overall, I know that when the work is motivating, when the work incorporates that movement, then that really helps create a better future for the scholars. And like thinking about like my classroom space, my classroom embeds personalized learning. So essentially, what that is the work that we indulge in each and every day is catered to reach the individual needs of each student. So whether
Okay.
it's creating learner profiles where students literally just talk about themselves and we set goals each and every week as to
Whew.
what our goal is and what we plan to do by a certain amount of time. And I have flexible seating where I have like cafe style tables in here. I have beanbag chairs, exercise balls. We call them wobbly chairs. So students, you aren't getting in trouble because you like to move.
How big is your classroom?
Listen, I make the space, okay? So, that's something I enjoy doing, because too often, our our little scholars are always being told what they aren't doing right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we
Yeah.
really need to change that narrative and change the way that we speak to one another. So it's okay that you like to move. Hey, sit on this wobbly chair. That'll help you focus. It's okay that you want to sit back and learn on the floor. Here's a beanbag chair. Get comfortable. Log in. Like it's all
That's
about what
dope.
helps them be successful.
That's dope. So you meet them where they are in a lot of capacities. So
Absolutely.
if they're willing to music, you find a way that you can interweave music in the curriculum. They
Mhm.
like to dance, that's customized to them, and they can receive it that way. So that's dope.
Absolutely.
That's dope. That's dope. Because I saw you on social media. I don't know. I forgot when it was, but you said something um hair. You were talking about hair, and you were talking about um black women's hair or something like that. You remember that video? What you
Yeah.
posted?
Um, I want to say, what is I'm trying to think of, because I post a lot of things about hair.
It was one when you was talking about, like, they asked about your hair, like they asked you about it, and they said it was like is your hair natural, or is your hair like kinky or something like that? And I was like, and she said, you said something about how you have to invest in students and tell them and help educate them about stuff that might not be uh within the field in which you know them through, but you still have to be somebody who serves them as a woman of color, as a black woman, as somebody who can help them in just being a person. You have to help them in that area too.
Yes.
Um, so I was like, wow, dang, nothing to do with math. She out here in these streets.
Honestly, and I honestly, you know what? I think that's probably one of the things that I love most about, I don't even like to call it work, because work kind of has like a negative connotation to it at times.
Yeah.
So I'll call it a journey. That's probably
Okay.
one of the things I love most about this journey. The fact that I can, one, be myself, and students can be themselves as well. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned, being a Black woman educator in this field, teaching a male dominated field of math.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, it's bigger than just that. Let's have a conversation about hair. You wonder how I
Yeah.
got my hair this way? Let's sit and talk about it.
Yeah.
And instilling the self-esteem within our young Black boys and girls. Like, that's so important, because it's so much negativity in the media, and how we're portrayed so
Yeah.
often. And it's like, let's just take a minute to just look in the mirror and talk about why we appreciate ourselves. And those are the
Absolutely.
conversations that I have with my students. And trust and believe, the math is going to be there, but I need to continue to build my scholars up to help
Yeah.
sure that they feel good about themselves, to wake up each and every day and come to class. So that's
Absolutely.
ultimately, that's what it's all about for me.
That's dope. No, absolutely. And I'm sure that you are the first teacher that a lot of these kids have seen that either look like them, either are a young person, a young adult that isn't far from their age. They not in their 50s, 60s, talking
Right.
all slow, writing on the chalkboard. they they see natural hair. They see themselves in you. So to be able to relate to you on a way that is outside the classroom, like, hey, she look like me. She has eyes look like me. She has full lips. She got cheekbones. She has melanin that look like me. She wraps her hair up like me, like I do. So to be able to relate to a student like that, and then be able to give them other knowledge, I think that's dope.
Thank you. Absolutely. I really appreciate that. And one last thing, I'm thinking about too, like a challenge teaching virtually, students having their cameras on, right? We require all
Yeah,
scholars to have
yeah,
their cameras on, but there's that fine line, right? Between respecting students' privacy, but still having an expectation for the teacher to be able to see the scholar at home, to know that they are actually on the other side of that screen and engaging in the
Right.
learning. So I'll just say one common challenge from my mainly my female students would say, like, their hair isn't done, so therefore they feel comfortable having the camera on. When I tell you that I went and grabbed my bonnet, and I'm like, oh, okay, bet. Let me grab my bonnet. Camera started cutting on left to right. I'm like, okay, scholars, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Grab your bonnet or scarf. Meet me back on the laptop. Girls were running around, grabbing their bonnets, and that's my crew. I call them my little bonnet buddies. Just something cute to, like, you know what? Nobody cares how you look. We're here to learn. We are here to learn.
I did hear that. I did hear that. I think you said something like, you was talking about bonnet. You said for my dudes, go get your do rag.
Yeah, he had a drag. Yeah.
I was like, I sure will get my do rag. I sure will.
Of course, we had the conversations, waves. Everybody started getting their little brush. Like, go ahead, show out for a second. Then we'll get back to the math.
People, even adults say that. Like, not even just kids, but adults say, like, my hair ain't did. I ain't been able to get to the shop. You know, when COVID, everything was closed. So they're like, I couldn't get my hair did, and the hat ain't gonna cut it. So we're gonna have this camera off. So that's good that you were able to make it fun and make them feel comfortable enough to show them in that stage where they might not have their hair done, they might not have it how they liked it, or whatever the case may be. You made it fun so they can feel comfortable. So that's dope. So I know it's been over the past month. I mean, the past couple months, it's been the conversation about going back to school, in-person learning, right? Due to students struggling academically and grades going down and all different types of reasons why people have been trying to get back to the classroom. How has it been for you? So I know you went back to the classroom for probably about a month now or something like that. So how has that been for you? I know you have pushback, you had your reservations personally. You might have always spoke out against it because it's your job, but but how have you felt about going back to in-person classroom? How has it been thus far?
Yeah, I'm an advocate for always creating a safe space for scholars to learn. And my reservations landed because I wasn't confident that, given we're in a pandemic, that being within the classroom was a safe space for scholars to learn. So now that we're back, it's been an adjustment, mainly because some of the guidelines that we do have to follow, the protocols, maintaining the 6 feet within the classroom. In the hallways, we have markers on the floor for scholars to stand on during restroom breaks, things like that. So that has definitely been an adjustment. But really just thinking about how some of the students who are here, they're so happy to be back. And they're so happy. And funny thing is, since when Q3 started, scholars had the option, their parents had the option, parents and guardians had the option to opt them in to return back in person. And our numbers were really, really low then for the same reasons that I just expressed. In Q4, which actually just started today, essentially about half of my scholars were expected to return, because they're like, oh, I want to come back. They kind of see how we're doing things in here and how things are essentially flowing in a safe manner, but more so because some just express that they just bored and tired of being at home.
Right. I want to get back up. I'm get out the house.
Yeah, all day. And it's like, students have been falling asleep at times. They're just, learning from home. Nothing's in that space, in their 4 walls, keeping them awake and keeping them engaged.
Right.
And I will say that some of the students who were initially struggling learning from home, they have returned back to school, and for that accountability piece. So I think that's probably the biggest thing there. Like, someone, meaning the teacher, is now here, and their peers are now here to hold them accountable for completing the work and being engaged within the lesson. So I'll say, as I mentioned, it's definitely been a challenge initially, mainly because I love to see my scholars, but I want them to be safe. And of course, I want to be safe as well. So
Right. Absolutely. No, that's dope. I say, and it's good that um you all are intentional about both keeping them safe and respecting CDC protocols and all the different types up at the state and everything has to do, but you also you understand that there's a need for students to be in person, the ones that need to be. All of them might not need to be at this current time right now, but some need to be for various reasons. So that's dope that you have that mindset. Because even some teachers in different places I've read, um, they would love to have students back in person to be able to help them, but they don't want to risk their own health and they don't want to risk their health, and they aren't even willing to try to be in the classroom with students. So the fact that you and your school and your administration have tried to implement protocols like you was talking about earlier, the sanitization thing behind you and everything, and social distancing and all that, to be able to implement those structures um, to be there for students if they need be, that's dope. And I think that it's still engaging because also, so when you were doing strictly virtual, were you doing it from your home, your
yes.
house?
Hmm.
Okay. So, but now, early on, you were talking about how you have different monitors up and your iPad and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, something that I've seen is that when teachers have a familiar atmosphere. So if you're in the classroom yourself and you're teaching, and the students see, they're like, "Oh, I know that chalkboard. Oh, that's classroom chalkboard. Oh, that's the classroom. This, that, and third." It helps because even though they're not there, they can see visually
Yeah.
things that that's familiar to them, or things, or if they're new, like if you have a new student, like a sixth grader or something, they can see a classroom period that's not their house.
Yes.
And I feel like I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but that just the psychology of it, being able to visually see a classroom, whether you're in it or you're looking at it, helps uh, grab attention and helps keep focus and how to and they're better for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like even when I was teaching at home, and we are remote one day out the week, but even teaching at home, like I had to purchase a desk and in my background I had like a whiteboard just to try to set, and I had like some
yeah,
posters in the back about like success and work hard and all those
yeah,
motivating words and things like that.
yeah,
Just as you mentioned, those visual learners who need those visual cues to feel as if, wow, I do feel like I'm learning from a classroom. So that
yeah.
environment definitely matters.
That's dope. Cool. So how do you navigate that? So how do you navigate having that work-life balance? Especially being in this season prior to you going back to in-person classes, in-person teaching.
Yeah,
The work-life balance of being able to be like, okay, you got a whole husband at home, you got a whole
that's,
dog, you got a whole family you got to tend to. So how do you navigate? You're like, okay, this is work time for teacher. This is home time for family. One is in the same space. So how did you navigate that balance?
yes, that's been such a challenge, especially when all of this started. And I'm so appreciative of my husband because he's definitely one who lets it be known that he values the time. He values literally just doing nothing. And I'm a person where I'm like, oh, I always need to be doing something, moving this, that, and the third. And he was more like, Ashley, just slow down, you know? So that has really helped me find that balance. Because honestly, being an educator, this work is always on my mind. Even when
Yeah.
I try to not think about it, I'm always thinking about it. I'm thinking about, wow, could I have done that lesson a little differently to engage this scholar? Oh, I'm out shopping. Oh, can I take a picture of this and apply this into a lesson for tomorrow? Wherever I'm
Yeah.
at, this work is always on my mind. I'm thinking about, oh man, that student had a question about something personal that he or she's going through. Did I
Yeah.
answer that in a way that really resonated with him or her? Like it's always my gears are always
Always going.
yes,
Always going.
for sure. You know what? I really had to like make like I really had to learn to make decisions. And I'm the type of person where I make decisions based on knowing that what I don't do today impacts my tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So, which is why I'm always like, okay, what can I do now to help tomorrow run even more smoothly?
I literally just text somebody yesterday about that. Literally like 10 o'clock last night. I was texting somebody. They're like, so I said yesterday it was a real rough day. I wasn't able to really focus on church or work or anything like that I was doing. And they're like, what's wrong? And I was like, it's just a lot on my mind, as always. I'm always trying to figure out what I can do today to help me move forward tomorrow. Mm. So for you to say that now and you want to end on that conversation, girl, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's crazy. You know what? Like throughout all of this, to help really navigate that work-life balance, I literally had to learn self-care. That's something that we see and this, that, and the third, but that's something that you aren't really taught how to do and what that looks like.
It's like imaginary. It's like a word that you see that you can't spell or define, but you know it's there.
And it's like that word and you skip over it. Like, come back to it.
I don't know what it means. I was gonna go over there. It's gonna go.
Exactly. So like I literally had to learn self-care. And I had to realize that, you know, I'm capable of the work that I'm doing, right? But I also know that I'm incapable of being able to give to others if I have nothing to give myself. You know, right. That really changed.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. Yeah. So to help, I mean, I found new interests. I picked up new hobbies. Essentially, I just learned to use my 24 hours. I'm allotted. I just had to learn to use those 24 hours differently. Same 24 hours, but now it's just how I plan to use them. So I had to know that what I've done, all I can do today, and this work or this journey is going to continue tomorrow, and it's not over. I've started disabling my work emails over the weekend because listen, when all 80 middle schoolers have access to your email,
boom, 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 ding, 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 ding.
Exactly. And then ultimately too, like, you know, being around so many people, I've had to set boundaries with certain types of energy that I allow into my space.
Absolutely. Yeah. My God. This ain't about church. You should make me shout. Come on. Come on.
Yes.
No, that's real. So, you know, that's something that, so people have been telling me this for years because I'm a busybody, so I do a lot. And people have been telling me, actually, funny thing is, so my homie, he got married, it was like 3 years ago, I think, or something like that. But since we're close, when he first started dating her, we always have our guy time. We go out, kick it, and all that stuff. But when he first started dating her, he brought her to one of our like brunches, like after church or something, so we could be her and we could ask her questions. And he was like, "Don't be interrogating this woman when I bring her to the table with y'all. Don't be interrogating her." But she was dope and all that stuff. But the thing about it is, though, is on top of us asking her questions and getting to know her, something she asked me, didn't even know me, never met me before a day in her life. She was like, "I feel like you're real active. You do a whole lot of stuff. You have your hands in a lot of different pots. But what do you, Alexx, do for self-care?" I was like, "That's a good question. I have no idea." So, and that stuck with me because, like we said, we hear that word, but we're not taught how to actually implement it. So this year, 2021, was a year that I took self-care seriously, especially after what 2020 looked like. I'm trying to balance everything in the same area, from school to work, all from my house. Yeah. So being able to separate and categorize and compartmentalize different things, so I don't go crazy, was something that I started taking serious. And the self-care portion, one of the things is, so my job is at a social service nonprofit. So we're still open. The building was open to a capacity, not necessarily all the staff or all the tenants that were in the building, but like the ones like early childhood, like the people who had daycares and babies, to have people come drop off their kids. So I had to be in the building to be able to open that up with my maintenance staff. So if there's any issues like floods or wiring issues or anything that needs to get taken care of, I was here to help with that. So one of the things that I did this year was I didn't come in 1 day a week, just 1 day a week, make it so I could be able to take that day to rest, recalibrate, and then come back the next day. Because even though I'm coming every day, it's still a drain to be able to get in the car, wake up, do everything I need to do here, then go back and leave and live my life, do what I want to do, opposed to what I have to do. So being able to take that 1 day off, that was key for me. But that was just one of my self-care routines. So what does I do for self-care?
I love that. Thinking about some of the things that I do. One, I do appreciate that 1 day that we do have. We're not off, but we are out the school building. So that really, I really enjoy that specifically because I'm in my own space. And the school day is still the same amount of time, but the time that I'm spending in front of the computer is decreased. So that's very helpful. That's very helpful. I picked up like hobbies, learning how to kind of create different clothing items. I picked up skating. Now, skating is something that I did as a little shorty, but just getting out and just doing things that I just love. Like I love to run. Cardio is my thing. That's my thing. So I found more time to just go running and even just going on walks, just spending that time to just be at peace. That's something that really just brings me joy. I've gotten back more into finding different texts to read, to just things that really makes me think, that critical thinking piece. So I just found time to really just do things that brings me peace, but also keeps me moving, keeps me active, and keeps me healthy at the same time. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. We need that. We need to stay healthy, whether it be physically and or mentally.
Oh yeah.
So they affect one another.
Exactly.
So what, I guess, about this, what about this time of being an educator in the season of COVID has made you stronger? Whether it be professionally or whether it be personally, what about this time has made you stronger? Or what aspect of you has been made stronger?
Yeah. I'm thinking about how I'm not going through this alone. And I think that's such an encouraging piece for me to know that when I think I got it bad, there's always someone else who is going through the unimaginable. So with that, one of the things that I have been really excited about this year professionally is I've embarked on a journey of becoming an instructional coach. So I'm also teaching as well as coaching other teachers within my building. Yeah. and that and honestly, like this is something like I love to see others just enjoying this work and just being happy with what they do. And honestly, it's been really tough for some to just exude that now. Even personal things, whatever they're going through, so, and I'm bringing up coaching because I really had the chance to engage in conversations, genuine conversations with some colleagues that I might have never had these conversations with because we are understanding that we're now in a space where we have to be vulnerable with each other and being even more open than we've probably ever been before. And I was kind of placed in a tough position at times because knowing that, okay, I'm going to observe and give feedback and talk about some highlights of the lesson versus what can areas of improvement. But it's been so many times where I honestly just pull back and I'm like, let's just talk about how you're feeling today. Like I noticed that your energy was a little off today. Tell me how you're feeling. And just having those check-ins, not just the scholars, but the adults need it too.
The adults, period. Yes, they do. Because if they got a lot going on, or they unfocused, or they unruly, or they uncomfortable, or going through something, it's going to affect students because it's going to affect how they teach or how they present themselves towards students.
Yes, absolutely. So you know what? I would say that was so huge for me because it helped create better bonds and relationships with my colleagues and just so everyone can see that we're all going through something, right? And if we don't actually have the time to talk about it and get it off and really explore and dig deeper into what can be done to make tomorrow a better day, we're going to remain stagnant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's dope. Um, that's dope that you said that one of the best parts, or the part that's made you stronger in this season, has been forming that unity and that foundation among your colleagues, in which you have to go. I won't say go to war
Yeah.
together, but you have to um, be a unified front going against the systems of ignorance, and teaching young people, and helping them be better people, not just be smarter, but be better people in general. So that's dope. Um, if you had to give any advice to any teacher or student in this time, what would it be?
You know, I would say be selfish. And I want to clarify, because so often selfish comes with such a negative connotation.
Negative, yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
But how I define selfish a little bit differently. Like, being selfish doesn't mean you have zero intention on helping others. To
yeah,
me, being selfish just means that you're making the strategic decision to help yourself first.
absolutely,
So I encourage everyone to just learn to be selfish, and don't forget about yourself during these times.
absolutely. That's dope. Thank you for that. Learn to be selfish. Something that a friend told me one time is, um, learn how to discern when to put yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because sometimes you get so caught up in doing for others and helping others and putting others first, whether it's kids, whether it's family, whether it's parents, whether it's students. You always get caught up in your passions and things that you have to do. So you can't sow into anybody else if you're pouring from an empty cup. You
Mm-hmm.
can't sow into anybody else if your seeds is not good to start
Absolutely.
with. So, but that's dope. That's dope. Actually, be self. I'm about to put that on one of these t-shirts. Be selfish. That's gonna be next to that. Okay, cool. The last section that I ask all of our guests is called "Light It Up," right? So we Lighthouse Young Adult Ministry. We be a beacon everywhere we go. So going along with the theme of a lighthouse, we're gonna go with "Light It Up."
Okay, okay.
Okay, bow bow. So the first light up question, these are rapid fire questions, right? So I don't want you to think too hard. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt
Hey,
yourself. So the first thought that comes to your head, that's what I want you to say.
okay.
Okay, as long as you ain't out here being reckless and crazy. Okay.
Okay,
First
okay.
thought that comes to your head. So first one, who or what has been your greatest inspiration in your life?
I'm gonna say my sister Brittany.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on, bro.
she listen. Oh my God, she's gonna freak. I don't. She gonna freak out when she. But you know what? I don't even know. I should be elaborating. But Brittany is such a strategic and analytical thinker. Like, how she makes her decisions is so
Yeah.
strategic. She's such like a catalyst. She's like a self starter. And she just unbothered. She does her own thing because that's what she want to do. And I'm like, you better go
She's
ahead.
unbothered. She's
Unbothered.
unbothered. She like, I'm good. I'm
Right.
okay. That's dope.
Yes.
Okay. If you were to write a book about yourself, what would you name it?
I'm gonna say, because I'm the type of person who's like, just get it done. I'm gonna say, why wait? Why wait?
Hmm, come on. Why wait?
Why wait?
Huh? No wait on nobody. Huh?
Nobody, nobody. Okay, why wait? Just do the thing.
Um, in a perfect world, what would your dream sources of income be?
Ooh, I'm so into people and just picking their brains and hearing their perspectives. I would say a sociologist, but I would love to like travel the world and do that more so, to learn about different people and their cultures and their religions and why they make the decisions that they do and how they interact. Like,
So
that's
you want so So your dream source of income is to be like a researcher of people.
Essentially, yeah. And it sounds boring when you put it like that. Like, wait.
You said sociology, which is the study of people. You said travel the world and learn people and see how they are. That to me sounds like you're researching people.
Okay, sociologist, and then a bullet point could be researcher. That's the last. Let that be the last bullet point, though. So
that's the last bullet point. Okay.
They might not keep reading to the end. So let's just. That's the last bullet point.
That's the note. That's in pencil. Just in case you got to erase it. That's that note. Fun. Bank though, so I don't know, but okay. All right. So, last question. How would you define success?
How would I define success? Doing what matters. Wait, doing what matters. Not only doing what matters, but doing what matters most to you. Not what other people think, doing what matters the most to you. We always trying to impress others and end up unhappy. What makes you happy and what matters to you? So doing what matters most but to you.
Doing what matters most to you.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Come on now. Come on with the success definition, huh? Well, Miss Ashley, big head as I call her. That's all I had. That's all we have for today. I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for being a guest. Thank you for sharing your heart, your experience, your thoughts, everything. You just shared everything. You were a joy. It's good to see you. Love on you a little bit virtually.
Yeah.
I just posted about you about sibling day and everything, so it's good to see you in the flesh, huh? but is there anything that you want to leave, or any last final thoughts that you want to leave before we depart?
You know what? I just really hope that what I shared today, it really just resonated with not just educators, but just everyday people, and just really just taking the time to really find what makes you happy, what matters to you, and just keeping that energy and finding that spark. Don't forget to find that spark, and keep that flame alive, right? Because we're living in some times that are unimaginable, and just keep doing what makes you happy and what makes you smile daily. And Alexx, bro, big head, bro, appreciate you, love you back, you stay safe, stay changing the world, things that you're used to doing anyway, getting the message and the word out and everything. So once again, I really appreciate you allowing this space for me to share my perspective. So thank you for that.
Of course. But so it's okay. You're gonna come back and we're gonna have you and Terrence on. It's no trip.
Ooh, yep. Gotta get ready.
y'all both gonna be here. It's cool, don't trip. But okay. All right, family. Thank y'all for tuning in. This was another episode of The Beacon, highlighting stronger education. Thank you for our guests for coming. Thank you for you all for tuning in. Make sure that if you see something or heard something that you like, please share it with somebody. Share it with family. Share it with other educators, whether it be old teachers, whether it be friends, or whether it be your parents. Share it with them, because you never know what this message might do for somebody else. So be sure that you comment, subscribe, like, share everywhere. Social media, text messages. Make sure that you use this message to bless somebody else. Because it's not meant just for you to hoard, but knowledge is meant to be shared. So share it with somebody else. So this week, make sure that you go out and be a beacon in this world and shine your light.